shaking. I reached for her, but she pulled away. I need to know what they did to me. We'll find out, I said.
Together. No, she said.
I mean everything. I need to remember what I did while I was them. If I hurt people, if I killed anyone. You didn't choose that life. But I lived it. Her voice broke. And I need to face it. I understood. Because she deserved the truth. Even if it broke her. Even if it broke us. I would stay by her side, no matter what. But as we packed up the room and prepared to leave, I knew one thing with absolute certainty. The organization wasn't trying to capture her anymore. They were trying to provoke her. And if we weren't careful, they'd succeed in turning the woman I loved into exactly the thing they wanted her to be, a weapon with no mercy left. It started with blood. A flash in the dark. Her hands red. Her mouth trembling. A scream that didn't sound like hers.
And a body falling.
Sophia shot up in bed with a strangled gasp, sweat glistening on her chest, her eyes wide and glowing faintly gold in the dim motel room. I was already awake, watching her, memorizing her, trying to memorize us in case it all unraveled. What did you see? I asked, my voice barely more than a whisper. She didn't answer right away. Her fingers dug into the edge of the sheet, like it could ground her. Her chest rose and fell in frantic rhythm. When she finally spoke, her voice was hollow. I killed someone. In the dream. I saw their face. I think I remember doing it. My heart twisted. Sophia, don't call me that, she snapped, then flinched at her own voice. I don't deserve that name. Not if it's true. I moved slowly, carefully, like one wrong word might break the last piece of her. You didn't choose to be made into this. But I still did it. I still pulled the trigger. Because they made you. What if I can't undo it, she whispered. What if this version of me, Raven, is just a killer wearing your mate's face? I didn't answer right away. I let her feel the silence, let it breathe around us before I said, then I'll still love her. Because I know who she used to be, and I know who she's trying to be now. She looked at me, eyes wet and wide and searching for something to hold on to. What if I hurt you again? I cupped her face, pressing my forehead to hers. Then I'll remind you who you are until there's nothing left but us.
She cried.
Quietly. I held her until the shaking stopped. That morning, we drove without speaking. Just the road, the storm forming behind us, and the weight of the past pressing in from every direction. We stopped at an abandoned safe house I'd used once years ago, a place no one should have remembered. The windows were boarded. The power was out, but it was safe. Or at least quiet. She needed quiet to remember. And she did.
Slowly.
Painfully.
Piece by piece.
She remembered the restraints first. Cold metal against her skin. Voices speaking in clinical tones. The way they injected her with something that made her limbs go heavy and her mind split open. She remembered a man with a soft smile and dead eyes whispering, "You'll thank us one day." She remembered the mirror. The day she looked at herself and didn't know who she was. She remembered the first time they sent her into the field. I thought it was training, she said, sitting cross-legged on the mattress, knees drawn to her chest. Until the blood wouldn't come off. I sat beside her, letting her speak, letting her break, letting her choose when she needed silence and when she needed truth. There was a girl, she said.
Young.
Maybe 17. They told me she was dangerous, that she'd been activated.
I didn't know what that meant.
I just knew she looked scared. She begged me not to hurt her. And her voice cracked. I don't remember what I did next. But I woke up in the van with blood on my hands and a file saying the target was eliminated. I wrapped my arms around her. She didn't move. You were a victim, I whispered. You were used. So was she, Sophia said. I wasn't the only one. And then she handed me something. A flash drive. One I didn't know she had. I found it in the lining of the bag you gave me, she said. I think maybe I hid it from them. Maybe I knew I'd need it again. I connected it to my laptop. There were folders. Dozens. Each labeled with a code name. Subject 01. Subject 02. Subject 03. Hers was Subject 17. I clicked it open. Files. Videos.
Reports.
Test results. They cataloged everything, I muttered. Every mission. Every failed wipe. Every time you tried to fight back. Sophia leaned in closer. Look at this one. It was a video. A recording. Date stamped 1 week before her death. She sat in a sterile room, strapped to a chair, eyes wide, lips chapped. I don't care what you do to me, she said on the screen. Erase my mind, my name, my memories, but you won't erase her. I'll find her again. Even if you turn me into a monster, I'll remember her. My throat closed. Sophia beside me sucked in a breath. I don't remember saying that, but your soul did. We opened another folder. Subject 23. Another woman.
Alpha.
Same pattern. Abduction. Identity erasure. Activation. But her last entry was a file marked terminated. They killed her, Sophia whispered. She didn't survive the extraction. Maybe that's why they didn't try with you again, I said. Maybe you were too strong. Or too bonded. We sat there, staring at the screen, the weight of what we'd discovered suffocating the room. They wanted to build weapons, I said. But you weren't a blank slate. You had something they couldn't wipe.
You, she said.
Us. My fingers brushed hers. Then we make them pay. Not just for me, she whispered. For the others. For the ones who never got the chance to remember who they were. That night, we made a plan. We listed every location I had in my files. Every name we could trace from the documents. We wouldn't run anymore. We would hunt. But the pain stayed. The fear lingered. And as we lay in bed together, Sophia pressed her lips to my throat and whispered, if I turn into something else again, promise me you'll stop me. I shook my head.
No.
I'll bring you back. What if you can't? Then I'll go wherever you go. Even into the dark. Her tears soaked into my skin. She kissed me like it was the last time.
It wouldn't be.
But the war had found us again. And this time, we were going to walk into it together. No mercy. No fear. And no more forgetting who we were. The storm came in just before midnight. We watched it from the roof of the safe house, Sophia's head resting on my shoulder, our breath mingling in the cold air. It felt symbolic, the wind screaming through the trees like the ghosts of the women they'd tried to erase. I hadn't said it aloud, but I knew they were planning something. The symbol on the door. The man outside the motel. They were setting a trap. But the thing about traps is, they only work if you run. So we didn't. We walked straight into it. I'd found a location buried in the Subject 17 folder, a name, Dr. Haver, attached to mission logs and post-operative analysis reports. He was one of the ones who reconstructed her. I used to imagine what I'd do if I ever met one of them. How I'd take his life apart, piece by piece. But now I just wanted answers. We tracked him to a research facility disguised as a clinic outside the city. Sophia was quiet the whole drive. Her jaw clenched, her eyes distant, like something inside her was coiling tighter with each mile. If I see him, she finally said, I don't know what I'll do. Whatever it is, I told her, I'll be right beside you. Even if I lose control? Especially then. The clinic was too clean, too quiet. The kind of place where bad things happen behind locked doors and were signed off by people in suits. I posed as a patient. Nothing serious. A fake injury. An excuse to get in. Sophia stayed outside, watching through a camera hidden in my jacket. The receptionist led me to an exam room. I kept my breathing steady, my voice calm. I'd done this before, but this time felt different. Because the woman I loved was outside, watching the building where her soul had been broken. I asked for Haver by name. I said I had questions about a procedure. The nurse stiffened, then left. I didn't move. Seconds passed. Then the door opened, and he stepped in. Older than I expected. Mid-50s. Hair graying at the temples. Glasses. Calm eyes. Cold smile. You're not sick, he said immediately. No. You're not here for a checkup. No, he studied me. then exhaled like he was tired. You must be Marina Vale. My throat tightened. You remember me? Of course. You're the constant. He Saturday 17 wouldn't let go of you. Not even under sedation. Not even after 10 memory wipes. You always came back. Like a stain. She's not a number. She's a person. She was a person. Until she agreed to give herself up for you. I froze. What? You don't know, do you? His voice turned smug. She came to us. Voluntarily. Said she'd heard rumors about experiments that could transfer pain. Bonded pain. She thought she could take yours. That she could suffer in your place. I couldn't breathe. She begged us to do it. We told her it would require a complete identity reset. That we'd have to kill her, legally. Wipe her clean. She didn't care. She said you were dying inside. That she couldn't watch it happen. My heart shattered in slow motion. She thought she was saving you. She did save you. At least for a while. You turned her into a killer. We gave her purpose. She gave us consent. She didn't know what you were going to do. No one ever really knows what they're agreeing to when they say yes, do they? I stood. Rage thick in my throat. Where are the others? The ones like her?
Dead.
All of them. One might still be alive. Subject 21. She was unstable. More violent than Raven. Less controllable. She vanished during a mission gone wrong. We assumed she was dead. But if she isn't well, she's a bigger threat than anything you're imagining. I didn't say another word. I left the room. I walked straight out of the building and into the car. Sophia was waiting in the passenger seat, fists clenched, legs bouncing. I looked at her. She looked at me. You went in alone, she said. I had to. What did he say? He said you volunteered. Her face crumpled. No, you thought it would save me. So you let them take you. I didn't remember. You do now. She nodded slowly. Her hands shook. I didn't think they'd erase you. They didn't. You found me again. She looked up. What if I really did kill people, Marina? Then we live with it.
How?
Together. Her voice broke. I don't want to be a monster. I cupped her face, eyes burning. If you turn into a monster, I'll still choose you. I'll fight for you. And if you lose yourself, I'll bring you back again. Just like you did for me. Her mouth crashed into mine. Desperate. Fierce. We kissed like it was the only way to survive the guilt. Later that night, we stayed at a roadside inn. Cheap, quiet, empty. I showered while she sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the floor. I didn't hear her move. Just the door slamming. When I rushed out wrapped in a towel, the room was empty. She was gone. I found her 20 minutes later. She was outside, kneeling in the dirt behind the building, sobbing. They triggered something, she choked out. I can feel it. Something waking up inside me. Something cold. It's not real. It's in me. I dropped to my knees beside her, wrapped my arms around her, kissed her temple. Then let me in too. Let me hold you through it. She cried into my shoulder, her whole body shaking. Promise me if they turn me into her again, you won't let me hurt anyone. I promise I'll never let them take you from me again.
Her voice dropped.
You should have let me die. I pulled her face to mine. Never say that again. You lived. And now you're going to help me destroy every piece of them. She nodded, eyes fierce despite the tears. Then we need to find subject 21. And stop this before they awaken anything else inside you. She took my hand. Whatever happens next, don't stop loving me. I kissed her. That's the only part of me they could never touch. We found subject 21 living under the name Ava Corwin, in the ruins of an old wolf outpost near the southern ridge, a place the world had forgotten, but the wild hadn't. The air reeked of pine and old blood. Love what you've seen so far and want to help me keep creating these awesome stories on this channel? Then subscribe and hit the bell. Your subscription supports the channel and makes sure you get more exciting stories. The dirt road leading there was almost completely overtaken by overgrowth, and the only way to reach it was on foot for the final mile. I could smell her before I saw her. Feral, powerful, unstable. Not the kind of scent you ever forget. Sophia walked ahead of me, her steps confident, but I saw the way her shoulders tensed, the way her fists curled and unclenched at her sides. Whatever they did to her, it was waking up again. Slowly, quietly, like a monster rising under her skin. She won't trust us, Sophia said. She won't recognize me. She'll recognize what they did to you, I said. She'll know you're one of hers. I'm not sure that's a good thing. She wasn't wrong. When we reached the edge of the property, a voice rang out through the trees, sharp and laced with venom. Don't move. I stopped, slowly raised my hands. Sophia did the same. A moment later, a figure dropped from the trees like shadow given form. She was smaller than I expected, compact, wiry, hair shaved short, eyes sharp and gray like broken glass. And her scent, gods, her scent was agony and fire and pure rage.
Ava.
Subject 21. You smell like them, she hissed. Get off my land. We're not here to hurt you, I said. We need your help. You think I give a shit what you need? Her eyes flicked to Sophia.
Froze.
Something in her posture shifted just for a second. Recognition, maybe. Or suspicion. You, she growled. You were the favorite. I don't remember that, Sophia said quietly. I don't remember much. How convenient. Ava stepped closer, circling us like a predator. I remember everything. Every needle. Every time they made me rip someone apart. Every second I screamed, and no one listened. You just obeyed. You were their masterpiece. I didn't choose it. None of us did. Ava's voice shook. But you didn't fight. I did, Sophia said, stepping forward. I fought every damn day. You just don't remember me doing it. I remember your eyes, Ava spat. Empty, like they gutted your soul and left the shell. And now you want what? Redemption? I want to end them. Ava studied her for a long, tense moment. Then she laughed, a short, broken sound. You think you can just show up and burn down the machine? We're not asking you to trust us, I said. We're asking you to help us destroy the people who made us enemies. Ava tilted her head. You're not one of us. No, I said. But I lost someone to them. And then I found her again, in a body they twisted into something she never asked to be. Ava's gaze snapped to Sophia. You're the dead mate? She was, Sophia said. Now I'm what's left. You want me to help you put a bullet in the head of every man in that building? Ava asked. Yes, Sophia said. Then you'll need more than conviction. You'll need blood. She led us inside. The place was a fortress made from scraps, metal sheets, reinforced walls, traps hidden in plain sight. Ava had turned survival into an art form. She handed us files, maps, names, codes. They're preparing another wave, she said. You're not the only one they woke up. You mean there are more? Sophia asked. Dozens. Some still sleeping. Some activated. Most of them don't survive more than a year. Why not? I asked. They break. Mentally. Physically. They're designed to be disposable. But you? Ava looked at Sophia. You lasted longer. That makes you the most dangerous thing they've ever made. You're the one they're going to come for first. They already are, I said. They tried to trigger her. She's barely holding on. Ava's expression hardened. Then you need to let her go. Excuse me? If she turns, she'll kill you. Don't pretend love is enough to stop it. It is, Sophia said. It has to be. Love doesn't erase programming. No, I said. But it rewrites it. Ava stared at us like we were fools. I hope you're right. Because when they send the next activation code, it won't be subtle. And if she snaps, she pointed to Sophia. You'll have to decide fast if you're her anchor or her target. Sophia didn't flinch. I'm both. That night, we stayed in a makeshift bunker beneath Ava's shelter. The walls were thick, the silence thicker. Sophia sat on the floor, legs pulled to her chest, staring at her hands. There's still blood on them, she whispered. I know there is. Even if I can't see it. I knelt beside her. You're not her anymore. But I feel her waking up. Let me hold her with you.
She reached for me then.
Pulled me into her lap. Kissed me like she was trying to burn every part of Raven away and reclaim the girl she used to be. I let her. I kissed her like she was still mine. Because she was. No matter how many versions of her they built. No matter how many monsters they planted inside her. She was mine. And I would love her through every shape she wore. Later, when we lay on the floor tangled together, heartbeats echoing in the stillness, she whispered, "If I lose myself, I'll find you. And if I try to kill you, then I'll die loving you." Don't joke. I'm not. She looked at me like I was the only thread holding her together. I don't want to become her again. You won't. How do you know? I kissed her forehead. Because I see you.
Right now.
I see you. And they can't take that from me again. But even as I said it, I felt the tremor in her body, the way her fingers twitched, the distant look in her eyes. And I knew the trigger was close. And when it hit, I would have to make the choice I prayed would never come. I felt it happen before I saw it. One moment Sophia was asleep beside me, her breath warm against my throat, our legs tangled beneath the threadbare sheets, and the next her entire body tensed like a wire pulled to snapping. She gasped, sharp and raw, bolting upright, hands clawing at her chest as if something inside her was trying to tear its way out. I reached for her instinctively. Sophia, but she wasn't looking at me. She wasn't seeing me. Her golden eyes were wide, glowing too bright, and her mouth moved soundlessly before she choked out a single word. Code. Her back arched, and then she screamed. Not like someone in pain, like something being rewritten. Ava burst through the door a second later, wild-eyed, a gun in her hand. They did it, she snarled. They activated the trigger.
How?
Doesn't matter. She's going under. And oh, I grabbed Sophia's face, holding her as her body convulsed. Listen to me. You're stronger than them. You hear me? You came back once, you can do it again. Her hand slammed into my chest with enough force to throw me across the room. I hit the wall hard, pain blooming in my ribs, but I didn't stop. I crawled back toward her, even as she stood slowly, mechanically, every inch of her body shifting into someone else. She wasn't shaking anymore. She was still.
Cold.
Weaponized. Ava raised the gun. We have to put her down before she kills us both. Don't you dare. She's not your mate right now. She's mine always. Put the gun down. Sophia turned toward us. Her expression was blank. Her breathing was slow, calculated. Her eyes scanned the room like a hunter selecting targets. Sophia, I whispered. No reaction. Raven. Nothing. Baby, please. Her head twitched. A flicker. A crack in the programming. I stepped forward. Ava grabbed my arm.
Don't.
She's not in there.
She is.
I know she is. I walked toward her. One step. Then another.
Slowly. Carefully.
You don't want to hurt me, I said, voice steady despite the panic in my chest. You love me. You chose me. Her hand twitched. A faint movement at her side. A trigger finger tightening. They made you forget. I kept going. They made you into something cold. But I know you. I know your laugh. Your scent. The way you sleep with one leg out of the blanket even when it's freezing. I know you hate spicy food and love thunderstorms and always cry when you watch old movies. I know the real you, Sophia Vale. Her jaw clenched. Her entire body trembled. And then she moved. Too fast to track. 1 second she was across the room. The next she was in front of me, hand around my throat, slamming me into the wall hard enough to knock the breath from my lungs. Ava shouted, raising the gun, but I held up my hand. No, I rasped. Don't. Sophia leaned in close, her grip tightening, her glowing eyes boring into mine. Target, Marina Vale, she said in a flat, mechanical voice. Bond identifier. Compromise. My heart cracked. If you're going to kill me, I whispered, let it be with my name on your lips. Her breath caught. The grip faltered. Marina, a whisper. A memory. A thread. I saw her fight. Her entire body tensed, like something inside her was trying to tear free of a cage. "I remember," she gasped. "I remember your voice. Your laugh. Your scent. I remember our cabin. Our nights. Our vows." Her hand slid from my throat. "I remember us." She collapsed against me. Her knees gave out. I caught her, pulling her into my arms as she sobbed, shaking, clutching at my shirt like I was the only thing anchoring her to reality. "They almost took me again," she cried. "They were in me. But you came back," I whispered into her hair. "You always come back." Ava lowered the gun, her eyes wide with something like disbelief. "No one's ever resisted the code before," she said. "You just broke a leash that was welded into your soul." "She didn't do it alone," Sophia whispered. "She pulled me out." "Love doesn't rewrite programming," Ava muttered. "Apparently it does," I said. But we didn't have time to celebrate. Because 10 minutes later, the safe house perimeter alarms went off. Ava cursed, pulling us both to our feet. "They're coming," she hissed. "Probably to retrieve the asset." "I'm not theirs," Sophia growled. Her voice was different now. Stronger. Hers. She grabbed a weapon from the wall, checking the rounds like it was instinct. "If they want to come, let them." I looked at her, my heart pounding. "You sure you're okay?" "No," she said. "But I'm me. That's enough." We moved fast. Ava had escaped tunnels. One led into the forest behind the ridge. We fled through the dark, the scent of the enemy closing in. Sophia held my hand the entire way.
Tight. Steady.
Her breathing never faltered. I could feel it, the trigger was still inside her, but now so was I. We set a trap at the tree line. Ava rigged explosives. Sophia laid out a snare with surgical precision. I watched her work, watched her move, and for the first time I realized this version of her wasn't Raven or Sophia. She was both. And neither. She was something new, something fierce, something free. When the first agent crossed the threshold, she didn't hesitate. Sophia took him down with brutal grace, her body moving like water, lethal and beautiful. But when another came, a woman with the same blank eyes, the same controlled gait, Sophia froze. "She's like me," she whispered. "She's one of them." The woman lunged. Sophia didn't fight, just caught her midair, pinned her without hurting her. "You don't have to be this," she said. "You don't have to follow the code." The woman twitched. Her hands trembled. But then she screamed, not in fear, but agony, and blood sprayed from her nose as she seized in Sophia's arms. By the time she hit the ground, she was dead. "Failsafe," Ava said from behind us. "They'd rather kill their assets than lose them." Sophia stared down at the body, jaw tight, eyes haunted. She could have remembered. I placed a hand on her shoulder. "You're going to make sure the next one does." "Not if I can't break this," she whispered. "The code is still in me, dormant now, but what if they trigger it again? Then we'll build something stronger than their code." "Like what?" "Like us." And in that moment, I wasn't afraid. Not of her. Not of what she'd done. Not of what she might do. Because I'd looked the weapon in her eyes and still found the woman I loved. And now we had a war to win. The plan was simple. Break into one of the secondary Black directive control sites, extract any remaining programming data tied to Subject 17, and shut down the signal that had almost turned Sophia into a weapon again. Simple, except we were walking into a place designed to rewrite people from the inside out. And one of us had already been rewritten once. We moved at dawn. Ava secured transport, an old military-grade vehicle she'd modified herself, armor plating and jamming signals included. Sophia sat silently in the back, her eyes locked on the files we'd stolen, scanning every word with a focus that scared me. She wasn't trembling anymore. She wasn't afraid. She was preparing. I'd seen her like this once before, years ago, the night before we were ambushed, when she told me if anything ever happened to her, I had to keep living. I hadn't kept that promise. Not until she found me again. "It's not just about me," Sophia said suddenly, breaking the silence. "The signal they used, it's still active. I think it's tied to all surviving subjects. Maybe even more we haven't found. Then this site could hold the key, I said. We shut down the network. We free the rest. Ava didn't look up from the map she was marking. Unless they've already moved the core. Or upgraded it. They haven't, Sophia said. I'd feel it. That stopped us. Feel it? I asked. What do you mean? She tapped her chest over her heart. It's not just in my brain. It's in my body. My spine. My instincts. The closer we get to the signal, the more I tighten. Ava muttered a curse. They built a back door into her soul. Sophia met my eyes. If I lose control again, you won't, I said, cutting her off. Because I'll be right there. If they built a back door, I'll be the one who locks it shut. You really believe love can do that? Ava asked, not mocking, just tired. I don't just believe it, I said. I've watched it happen. Twice. The site was buried beneath a decommissioned military hospital. From the outside, it looked abandoned, overrun by ivy and years of dust, but inside, the hallways were sterile and humming. Ava hacked the doors. I held the weapons. Sophia led. Her movements were calm, calculated, familiar in a way that hurt to watch. The closer we got to the control room, the more her steps slowed. It's loud in here, she said softly. I can hear them. Who? The others. Their thoughts. Fragments of programming. Screaming. Obeying. Dying. I swallowed hard. We'll shut it off soon. Hold on. But as we reached the core, the real horror came. The signal wasn't a switch. It wasn't a simple file or broadcast. It was biological. A pulsating cluster of neural interface tech grown around the spine of a living body, subject 0. A woman.
Catatonic.
Her body suspended in liquid and wires, her brain alive and radiating the control network across the remaining subjects. She's the anchor, Ava said. They centralized the failsafe into a living transmitter. She doesn't even know who she is anymore, Sophia whispered. She's the frequency now. Can we shut her down? I asked. Without killing her? Ava hesitated. If we sever the system, it'll collapse. But if she dies, every active subject could fall into psychosis. So we free her, Sophia said. Not just shut it down. We liberate her. We don't know how, I warned. If you touch that interface, it responds to me. I can feel it. Sophia, I have to try. She stepped forward, placing her hand against the glass of the chamber. The effect was immediate. The lights flickered. The hum intensified. And then she screamed, dropped to her knees. Eyes wide, mouth open, body shaking like electricity was tearing through her. I ran to her, caught her before she hit the floor, cradling her against my chest. Let go, I begged. Please, baby, let go. I see it, she whispered. All of it. The code. The signals. The chains. Come back to me. They used you, she said suddenly, eyes locking onto mine. What? You're part of the code. Marina. They used your scent, your voice, your memories of me. As a control mechanism. You were the trigger. You still are. My blood froze. What do you mean? They mapped your neural imprint onto me. Every time I saw you, felt you, it triggered resets. Made me compliant. It wasn't just love keeping me from hurting you. It was programming. I staggered back. No, but I fought it, she said, grabbing my hands. I chose you anyway. I choose you. You're saying, they turned your love into a cage. And I broke it. But that means, if they get to you, if they hurt you, I'll lose everything. Ava looked between us, horrified. Then we need to get the hell out of here before they use her against you again. But it was already too late. The alarm screamed. The room flooded with gas. Sophia shoved me behind a control console just as the doors burst open. Armed agents. Dozens. I saw red lasers cutting through the mist, the crack of stun rounds, the blur of bodies. And in the middle of it, Sophia. Moving like fire. Graceful.
Deadly.
But something was different. She wasn't robotic. She wasn't empty. She was herself. She fought because she remembered me. Because she remembered us. Blood sprayed. Screams echoed. Ava dropped 2 agents before they hit the ground. I grabbed a sidearm and joined the chaos. But I never lost sight of her. And she never looked away from me. Not once. She cleared the room in 7 minutes. Every agent down. Not all dead, just disabled. She let them live. When it was over, she stumbled toward me, her body shaking. I still feel her, she whispered. Subject 0. She's in my head. What do you need? I asked. Your voice. Keep talking. Keep me anchored.
So I did.
I talked to her. About the first time we met. The color of the sweater she wore that day. How she used to make tea and forget it on the counter because she got distracted reading. How her kisses tasted like honey when she was sleepy. How she whispered my name like it was prayer. And as I spoke, she climbed into the interface chamber and pulled the neural leads free, one by one. Subject 0 gasped. Then went still. Peaceful. For the first time, the signal stopped humming. Silence fell. We did it. We shut it down. The whole facility dimmed. Backup power flickered. Ava began destroying drives, erasing records. Sophia collapsed into my arms, exhausted but free. They can't touch me anymore, she said, voice rough. They can't use you to hurt me. You came back, I whispered. And I'm not leaving again, she replied. But deep down, I knew this wasn't the end. Because someone had designed that system. Someone higher. And they'd seen what love could do to their weapon. And next time, they wouldn't try to rewrite her. They'd try to erase me. The silence after the shutdown didn't last. We had maybe 12 hours before the full system failure triggered alarms across the continent. Ava worked fast, her fingers flying across keyboards as she buried virus strings deep inside the command lines, corrupting backup files, disabling external access, and wiping every trace of Subject 17's programming from the servers. Sophia stood in front of the chamber that once held Subject 0, staring at the woman inside, still unconscious, her body twitching in slow waves like it was adjusting to a new reality. She's free, Sophia whispered. But I still feel her, like a thread tangled in my ribs. The connection will fade, Ava said. It wasn't real. It was just control dressed up as instinct. Control doesn't feel like grief, Sophia muttered. I reached for her hand. She took it instantly. We need to move, Ava said. They'll know we were here. And if what I found on that last drive is real, we're not dealing with a handful of survivors anymore. We're dealing with an army. What kind of army? I asked. Ava pulled a data stick from her pocket. They called it Project Requiem. You're not going to like it. We drove in silence until we reached a remote cabin owned by one of Ava's dead contacts. There, huddled around the last working laptop, we watched the files. Video logs, blueprints, cloning protocols, failed test notes, body storage systems, and then faces. Sophia's face. Over and over again. Slightly altered. Different eyes. Different skin tones. Some with scars. Others with surgical notes in the margins. They didn't just keep her data, Ava said quietly. They replicated it. Dozens of times. Maybe more. Clones, Sophia breathed. They cloned me. They refined you, Ava said. Tried to remove the parts that resisted. And then they restructured the bond sequence to match a new target. What do you mean? I asked. They rebuilt her bond. But they used your neural signature as the blueprint, Marina. You're in every clone's code. Your voice, your scent, your memories, your image. You're the anchor. My stomach dropped. They turned me into a failsafe? Into a trigger, Ava corrected. If they capture you, they could activate every clone at once. How many are we talking? Sophia whispered. Maybe 40, Ava replied. Maybe 400. I don't know. But I traced one signal. One prototype. The first full clone. And she's active. Where? North Facility. Hidden in the ruins of what used to be a recovery center. It's isolated. Quiet. But if she activates, the rest could wake in waves. Sophia stood. Then we go there. We find her. We shut it down. It won't be that simple, Ava warned. This one isn't just a soldier. She's the purest version. No hesitation. No guilt. No emotional resistance. She's what you would have become if they succeeded completely. Sophia looked at me. Then I need to face her. No, I said. We face her. Together. If she looks like me, Sophia whispered, and smells like me, what happens when you look her in the eyes? I'll still see you. She swallowed hard. They didn't just try to take me from you. They tried to take you from me too. I won't let them finish that. We geared up that night. Weapons.
Stealth suits.
Communications encrypted and shielded. I wasn't a fighter, not like them, but I didn't need to be. My weapon was memory. Was love. Was the fact that I still knew every version of the woman beside me, and no synthetic replica would ever hold a piece of my soul. The facility was buried in snow. Northern wastelands. Mountains taller than gods. We hiked for hours in silence, our breaths white in the cold. At the crest of the final ridge, Ava dropped to her knees and pulled binoculars from her pack. 3 guards. No alarms. But the structure's too small to be holding just one. What's underneath it? Sophia asked. Nothing, Ava said. That's the problem. It's a shell. A front. The real lab's buried. Then we go down, I said. And we destroy everything. We moved at midnight. The guards fell silently. Ava's blade work was brutal and efficient. Inside, the lab was pristine. Too pristine. Sophia tensed the second we crossed the threshold. She's awake. How do you know? I asked. Because she knows I'm here. The air inside shimmered. Almost like heat. But it wasn't heat, it was resonance. Familiar. Wrong. We turned a corner and froze. There she stood. The clone. The perfect replica. Except not quite. She was colder. Eyes harder. Movement sharper. Hair slicked back into a braid. Tactical suit. No scars. No hesitation. Her voice was emotionless. Subject 17, compromised. Initiate sequence override. Sophia stepped forward. You don't have to obey them. There is no them, the clone replied. Only mission. And what's the mission? I asked. Her eyes landed on me. And for the first time I felt it, the tug. The bond. False and distorted, but echoing the real thing. Secure the asset, she said. You're not bonded to her, Sophia growled. You're a copy. I'm the evolution. You're nothing, Sophia snapped. You're fragments of me, without the soul. You'll never have what I have. I don't need it, the clone said, raising her weapon. Because I am what you were always meant to be. Then shoot, I whispered, stepping in front of Sophia. Kill me. The original bond. The one thing standing between you and full activation. The clone's hand didn't shake, but she didn't fire. She trembled. Something's wrong, she said. The signal, it's not yours, I told her. Because love isn't code. And you're not her. Sophia moved like lightning. Disarmed her in one strike. The clone lunged, but Sophia caught her, pinned her, shoved her against the wall. I remember every scar, she hissed. Every scream. Every stolen second. And I earned my freedom. You're just synthetic grief. The clone broke free. The fight was brutal. Precise. Identical styles. It was like watching a mirror shatter itself. Ava tried to interfere. The clone knocked her out cold. I couldn't look away. Not until Sophia faltered. Just 1 second. Just one breath. The clone had her pinned, a blade to her throat, whispering, "This could have been easier." And then I stepped forward. Calm. Steady. Sophia. Her name. The real one. Her eyes flicked to mine. Not the clone's. Hers. I said, "Come home." She caught the blade mid-strike. Twisted. Threw the clone across the room. I am home, she said. And I'm done being anyone else. She knocked the clone unconscious. We destroyed the lab. Burned it. Buried it. When we left, the mountain behind us was nothing but smoke and ash. And I knew something had shifted. We weren't just surviving anymore. We were winning. But the war wasn't over. Because as we drove away, my phone, the burner, buzzed with a message that made my blood run cold. Just one line. "You're next, Marina. And she'll watch you die." I didn't hear them come. 1 second I was beside her, my fingers tangled in Sophia's as the mountain burned behind us, the scent of ash and victory still clinging to our clothes. The next, everything went black. When I woke, my hands were bound behind me, my head pounding, my mouth dry. The room was white, blinding, cold, and I knew immediately where I was. Not the clone lab, not an outpost. This was the origin, the place where it all began. I recognized it not from memory but from her nightmares, the ones where metal hands tore her apart, where silence screamed louder than pain, where names were replaced by numbers and freedom by commands. I was in the Black Directive's heart. And I wasn't alone. A man sat in front of me. Late 50s, maybe. Perfect posture. Black suit. Surgical calm. He looked at me like I was a problem he had already solved. "Marina Vale," he said. "The Omega who broke our most sophisticated weapon." I must admit, that was unexpected. I stared back, my voice hoarse. "You can kill me. It won't change anything." "Kill you?" He smiled. "Oh no, Marina. Death is crude. We want something far more elegant." He pressed a button. A screen flickered to life beside him. Footage played. Sophia. Raging. Screaming. Destroying everything in her path.
Blood.
Walls torn apart. A dozen guards incapacitated. But it wasn't now. It was then. A recording from years ago. "This was the moment she broke containment," he said. "Right after your death. You forced her into that. We offered her freedom from grief. She offered us her body. The bond you shared, that was the glitch in the system. So we decided to try again. Rebuild her. But this time, with you inside the code."
She's not yours.
"She never was." "No," he said softly. "But you will be." I froze. "What?" "You're not here to die, Marina. You're here to be copied. Your mind. Your memories. Your scent. Your entire bond signature. We're going to make you eternal." I spat at his feet. "You'll never have me. You're already here. And she's coming for you. Right on schedule." My heart slammed against my ribs. "Don't touch her. We won't have to. She'll come willingly. You are, after all, her favorite weakness." He left me alone after that. Hours passed. Maybe days. I couldn't tell. They drugged me, injected things into my neck, scanned my brain, played back memories I didn't know they had. My first kiss with Sophia. Our vows, whispered in the dark. The way she looked at me when I laughed too hard. They were turning my love into data, turning us into something replicable, controllable, disposable. Meanwhile, hundreds of miles away, Sophia felt the moment I was taken.
She didn't speak.
Didn't scream. Just stood in the middle of the road, eyes closed, as the bond between us pulsed once, then went silent. Ava tried to stop her. "You don't even know where they took her." "Yes, I do," Sophia said. "Because I remember dying there." "You're not ready. They'll expect you."
Good.
"Let them. You're not invincible." "I'm worse than invincible." Sophia turned toward the northeast, her expression carved in ice. "I'm in love. And they made the mistake of touching what's mine." She didn't wait for backup. She didn't strategize. She just moved. The old facility wasn't even supposed to exist anymore. The government had buried its coordinates, destroyed records, shut down satellites. But they forgot something. You can't erase a place that lives in someone's blood. Sophia found it by instinct, memory, rage. She crossed borders, mountains, cities. Left a trail of destruction behind her, not to hurt, but to clear the path. She was a storm with purpose. And she was coming for me. I felt her before I saw her. The lights in my cell flickered. The walls shook. Guards shouted. Sirens wailed. Then silence. The door slid open. And she was there. Blood on her knuckles. Fire at her eyes. My name on her lips. Marina. I stood, my legs barely holding. "You came." You thought I wouldn't? They're going to. Not today. She pulled me into her arms like she was afraid I'd disappear again. We kissed like we'd survived 1,000 endings. But we didn't have time. She pulled back, her forehead against mine. They made copies of you. I saw them. Shelves of synthetic versions. I broke every one. But they still have the neural imprint. Then destroy it. It's not a file. It's a person. My stomach turned. What? They built a new host. A vessel. It looks like you.
Moves like you.
It even speaks in your voice. They plan to broadcast the signal through it, through your memories, and rewrite every active subject's bond. Sophia, I have to kill it. You'll be killing a piece of me.
No, she said.
I'll be killing the lie they tried to sell me, so I can keep the truth. We moved through the halls together, past labs and dead ends, past copies of both of us, broken and rotting in glass cages. At the core, we found it, the final project, a tank, a face.
Mine.
But hollow, empty, waiting to wake. Final bonding sequence will begin in 30 seconds, the computer said. Please prepare for signal transmission. I stepped forward. Sophia stopped me.
No.
I'll do it. You shouldn't have to kill me. It's not you. It's what they made out of you. It's the thing that tried to overwrite everything we ever were.
She looked at the body, then at me.
You loved me through death, through violence, through programming. Now, let me love you enough to erase the last thing trying to replace you. She raised her weapon. Her hands didn't shake. I love you, I whispered. Always. And I'll burn the world before I let it take you again. She fired. The tank shattered. The false me never opened its eyes. Sparks rained down. Smoke filled the room. And the signal? It died with the lie. We ran. The facility crumbled behind us. Sirens melted into ash. Above us, the stars returned.
Cold. Distant.
Eternal. Like us. That night, we didn't speak. We lay in a stolen bed in a nameless town, tangled in silence and sweat and relief. She kissed every scar on my body. I held every cracked piece of her soul. We didn't cry. We didn't need to. Because in the end, the bond wasn't made of code. Or chemistry. Or pain. It was made of choice. And she had chosen me. Again. And again. And again. The world outside didn't feel real anymore. After everything we'd burned, buried, escaped, and survived, the silence tasted like a lie. Sophia and I didn't speak much the morning after we destroyed the final replica. We didn't have to. Her fingers found mine under the sheets. My breath tangled with hers in the dim light of a world still unsure whether it deserved peace. And when she looked at me, hair a mess, skin bruised, eyes tired but clear, I saw it again. That thread. The one we chased through death and programming and rage. The one that never broke. Love, yes. But more than that, recognition. Of her.
Of me.
Of who we were before the world tried to rewrite us. Ava found us 2 days later. She hadn't asked where we were. Just tracked us through the damage. You too left awake, she said, dropping a cracked tablet onto the table. They're not rebuilding. Good, Sophia said flatly. They're doubling down, Ava added. Fragments of the neural data survived. Not enough to recreate the clones, but enough to infect the bond network. What do you mean infect? I asked. Thousands of omegas were already registered in the global mate tracking systems, genetic data, compatibility markers, emotional imprints. Most of it was voluntary, but the directive intercepted those databases. So they're using fake bonds, Sophia muttered, her jaw tight.
Exactly.
They can't clone you anymore, but they can manipulate the natural connections between alphas and omegas, inject synthetic loyalty, obedience, desire. My blood ran cold. They're rewriting free will. Not everywhere, Ava said. Not yet. But there are already outbreaks in 3 zones. The omegas aren't acting like themselves. The bonds are off.
Too perfect.
Too fast. Too compliant. You know the pattern, Marina. I closed my eyes. I did know. I remembered the way I felt right after Sophia died. The way I nearly lost my mind trying to find purpose in something, anything. I remembered how easily grief could be twisted into obsession. I remembered how they'd taken Sophia and made her into someone who followed, who didn't ask why. They were doing it again, this time on a global scale. We have to stop it, I whispered. We don't have time for politics or protection protocols or waiting for councils to approve rescue ops. If we don't act now, I know, Sophia said, already standing. Then we fight. Ava looked between us, skeptical.
How?
You two barely survived the last wave. And this isn't a lab or a server farm. This is people. Thousands of them. Not soldiers. Not weapons. Victims. They don't need soldiers, Sophia said. They need a signal. A truth louder than the lie. And what truth is that? Ava asked. Sophia looked at me. Her voice was steady. Us. The plan wasn't simple. It wasn't clean.
It wasn't even a plan, really. Just an idea.
A hope. But we didn't need precision. We needed impact. We traveled first to the Northern Crescent, a territory filled with scattered wolf communes, most of which had gone silent weeks ago. The first pack we reached welcomed us in smiles, but their eyes were wrong.
Flat.
Empty. And the way the Omegas clung to their alphas, it wasn't natural. It wasn't love. It was possession. Let me talk to them, I told Sophia. She hesitated. You're sure? I have to be. We gathered them in a clearing. I stood before them, not as a warrior or a rebel, just as a mate, a woman who had lost everything and found something even more fragile, a second chance. I know what it feels like to be rewired, I said. To feel something and not be sure if it's yours. To want someone so badly it makes you question your sanity. But real love? Real bonds? They don't erase who you are. They amplify it. Some of them stirred. Others blinked. A few stared at me with pure confusion. The one I loved, I continued, was taken from me. Changed. Broken. And I still loved her. Not because they programmed me to, but because she was still in there. And I fought for her. And she fought her way back. I turned. Sophia stepped forward. Her voice low, but clear. They made me forget her. They made me forget myself. But she kept whispering who I was until I remembered. You don't need to obey, I said, turning back. You don't need to serve. You don't need to submit. You only need to choose. For a long moment, there was only wind.
Leaves.
Distant howls. Then a young Omega, barely more than a girl, began to cry. Another followed. Then another. One by one, the weight cracked. The programming broke. Not from force. Not from rebellion. From remembering. We moved from pack to pack, across borders, territories, even rival factions. And the story repeated. The manipulation ran deep. But so did the resistance. Every time Sophia spoke, they listened. Every time I held someone's hand and told them they were more than what was done to them, I saw something spark behind their eyes. Ava called it emotional override. I called it love. Some places resisted harder. Some alphas tried to stop us. But Sophia was a living myth now. The weapon who'd refused to be used. The alpha who'd broken her own chains. And I was the Omega who'd made her remember her name. Together, we weren't just symbols. We were proof. The final territory was the worst. Isolated. Dozens of Omegas in sensory deprivation. Hooked to artificial bond stimulators. Their minds barely holding. It was there that the directive launched their final strike. Dozens of agents. Shock troops. A last attempt to kill the message before it spread beyond saving. The fight was brutal. Bloody. Desperate. I stayed close to Sophia, but even she was tiring. Until one of the agents caught me off guard. A blade.
A blur.
Blood on my side. I fell. Sophia screamed. Time stopped. She moved like lightning. Like vengeance. Like grief given form. But she didn't kill. She disabled. Defended. Survived. She reached me, pressing her hand to the wound. No, 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 Marina, stay with me. I smiled through the pain. Still here. Don't you dare leave me again. Wasn't planning on it. I don't care about the war, she whispered, forehead pressed to mine. Not if it takes you. Then let's end it. Together, we stood, bloodied,
Bruised.
and we spoke. Not to the directive, not to the soldiers, but to the Omegas. We told our story. From beginning to end. Every scar, every death, every resurrection. And they listened, because they saw what no simulation could fake. A bond that wasn't forced, or programmed, or claimed, but chosen. Again,
And again.
and again. They called it District 13, a dead zone buried in tundra, surrounded by radio jammers, patrolled by bonded alphas with eyes like machines and hearts wired to kill. No one lived there by choice. No Omega walked free. And yet, somewhere inside its frozen walls, the last remnant of the directive's manipulation pulsed like a buried disease, and I was the only one who could get close enough to shut it down. Ava didn't want us going. This isn't like the other sites, she said, staring at the cracked satellite image. This one's personal, and not just for them. What do you mean? Sophia asked, her arm already around my waist, her jaw clenched in that quiet way she got when she sensed danger coming. Ava hesitated. Because Marina didn't just get hurt here. She belonged here. Once. I froze. My blood chilled faster than the wind outside. What are you talking about? Ava's voice lowered. The final archive we cracked, it held records. Pre-directive. I don't remember. You weren't supposed to, she said gently. They wiped you clean before placing you back in the world. But you weren't always an outsider, Marina. You were one of them. Sophia's grip tightened. Not possessive, protective. Explain. Ava turned the screen. Names. Images. Footage. I couldn't breathe. Because the girl in the image, 17, maybe 18, was me.
Pale.
Empty-eyed. Dressed in a uniform too tight around the wrists, too neat for a soul. And, beside me, a woman. Older. Sharper. Beautiful in a way that felt like a knife's reflection. Who is that? Sophia asked. I already knew. Her name was Dr. Mireille Voss, I said, my voice hoarse. She was the first to test synthetic bonds on Omegas. And you were the test subject, Ava said. Her subject. Her obsession. Her weapon. I turned away, nausea rising like a storm. The memories didn't come in a rush, they bled. Flashes. Whispers. A voice calling me little star. A hand guiding mine around a weapon. A mouth praising obedience. I remembered being nothing. And being hers. Sophia moved in front of me, cupping my face with shaking hands. You're not hers anymore. I was never mine, I whispered. Not until you.
She kissed me. Soft. Fierce.
Unyielding. Then let's take it back. All of it. District 13 was a fortress carved from ice. We breached it under moonlight, Ava disabling cameras, Sophia dispatching guards with clean, silent strikes. I followed the ache in my bones, the pull of old chains. They led us to the heart of the complex.
A lab. Clean. White. Cold.
And there she stood, unchanged. Mireille Voss, her silver hair pinned back, her coat pristine, and those same glassy eyes drinking me in like time had frozen.
My little star, she said.
You came home. Sophia stepped in front of me, growling low. She's not yours. Mireille's smile didn't falter. You must be the one who ruined her. I freed her. From what? Mireille asked. Order? Purpose?
Love.
Her eyes flicked to me. Do you remember what you used to be? How beautifully still your mind was. How easy you made it to rewrite pain into precision.
You stole me, I said. No.
I shaped you. Into what? A ghost? A tool? Her voice lowered. Into someone who didn't flinch when asked to kill. My stomach twisted. What are you talking about? Tell her, Mireille said sweetly. Tell your precious Alpha what you did before I erased it. I staggered. Visions swarmed my mind.
Blood. A knife.
My hands. A mission.
A name.
Sophia Vale. No, Sophia caught me. You didn't. She did, Mireille said. We sent her to eliminate the alpha threat. She failed. But the bond was already forming by then. That was the beauty of it. Pain and affection together. You used her to kill me, Sophia whispered. And when she couldn't, you erased her. I made her pure again. You made her empty. I stepped forward. Every part of me shook, but my voice didn't. You don't owe me anymore. I made you, she hissed. You owe me your silence, your service, your soul. Then take it, I said. If you still can. She moved too fast. Pulled a hidden blade from her sleeve. Ava shot first, missed. Sophia leapt, but I didn't flinch. I stepped into the strike. Let it slice across my arm. Then caught her wrist mid-swing and slammed her to the ground. I didn't kill her. I didn't have to. I looked her in the eyes and whispered, It don't get to be the end of my story. We found the control center beneath the lab. Rows of sleeping omegas. All with artificial links echoing my old neural map. Mireille had been trying to recreate me, the perfect bonded subject. We destroyed everything. Every server. Every false imprint.
Every shard of who I used to be.
And when we walked out into the snow, Sophia pulled me close, her breath warm against my skin. You were never the monster, she said. You were the cage. Then what am I now? I whispered. Mine, she said.
Free. Fierce.
Mine. The world didn't end when the servers went dark. It didn't burst into flames or fall silent or tremble beneath our feet. It just kept going. Birds kept flying. Rivers kept running. People woke up in strange beds with memories that didn't belong to them and tears they couldn't explain. Omegas whispered each other's names like spells, clinging to bonds that now felt like questions instead of answers. Survivors gathered in firelit circles and tried to make sense of what had been stolen and what had been real. And Sophia Vale? She saved the world. But saving it didn't save her. At first, I didn't notice the shift. She still kissed me like I was breath and blood. Still held me at night with her legs tangled in mine. Our skin pressed close like maybe we could melt into one person and forget where the scars began.
But little things changed.
She woke before me and left the bed without a sound. She stopped humming while she cleaned her weapons. She flinched when people smiled too easily, or when children laughed too loud. Her silence grew teeth. And I recognized the signs. Because I had lived inside that kind of silence before. The guilt. The ache. The unspoken belief that survival meant punishment. That love was something you didn't get to keep just because you came back broken. I caught her staring at me once, in the dim kitchen of our temporary shelter. Her tea had gone cold. Her hands were clenched. What is it? I asked. Nothing, she said too fast. Just thinking. Don't lie to me, Sophie. Her jaw twitched. You're not the only one with ghosts, Marina. I don't need you to be perfect. Maybe I need me to be. I crossed the room, cupped her face, kissed the edge of her trembling mouth. You think I fought through hell just to watch you drift away from me? I'm not drifting, she whispered. I'm trying to protect you. From what? From me. The words shattered between us. She pulled back, but I didn't let go. You're not a weapon anymore. Aren't I? She asked, voice breaking. They used my body to kill, my mind to manipulate, my love to control. How am I supposed to believe I'm not a threat to you? Because I know you. You know this version of me, the one you brought back. But what if that's not all I am? What if the darkness is still inside me? Then I'll hold the light for both of us. She closed her eyes, breathing like it hurt. You deserve someone who isn't a constant fight. I don't want peace if it means losing you. You say that now, but one day, don't, I snapped. Don't tell me who I'll be. You don't get to choose what I can survive. You already did, she said softly. You survived me. No, I said, tears rising. I survived for you. There's a difference. That night, she didn't come to bed. She slept on the floor outside our door like a soldier on watch, like distance could keep me safe. I let her. For one night. But in the morning, I knelt beside her, pressed my mouth to her temple, and whispered, "Come back." She looked at me, eyes red. "I'm not gone. Not yet. But I see the edges of you fraying, and I won't stand by while you bleed alone. I don't know how to stop." "Then let me remind you."
So I did.
I touched her like a vow, kissed her like a protest, traced every scar with lips and fingers and tears until she remembered that this body didn't belong to pain. It belonged to us. I made love to her slowly, reverently, whispering her name like prayer, like promise, like home. And when she came undone in my arms, sobbing and shaking and gasping my name like it was the only truth she had left, I held her tighter. "You're not broken," I said. "You're just tired. And I've got you. As long as it takes." After that, she stopped sleeping outside the door. She started talking again, soft at first, telling me about the memories that came back in fragments, about the faces she couldn't forget and the names she wished she could. She told me about the versions of herself she hated, the ones she had to become just to survive. And I told her mine. The years I lived fueled by vengeance. The times I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the woman staring back. How I used to fall asleep imagining what I'd say if I ever saw her again, the killer, the stranger, the one who stole my mate, only to realize I'd been speaking to her all along. And loving her anyway. Sophia started helping the others too. Not with orders or missions, with presence. She taught Omega survivors how to fight, how to walk tall, how to trust their instincts again. She let them ask about her past, and didn't flinch. She even laughed sometimes. Not often. But when she did, it was a sound that made people turn toward the sun. She was healing. Not because she was trying to be who she was before, but because she was letting herself become something new. Something soft. Something strong. Something hers. One night, weeks later, we stood by the ocean. The wind was cold and sharp, the sky clear. I was barefoot in the sand. Sophia came up behind me, wrapping her arms around my waist, her chin resting on my shoulder. "You still believe in us?" she asked. I leaned back into her. "I don't believe. I know. Even after everything I've done? Especially after." "Why?" I turned in her arms, cupped her jaw, looked her in the eyes. "Because you keep choosing me, even when you're falling apart." Her breath hitched. "I love you, Marina." "Say it again." "I love you." "Then stay. Always." And she did. That night, we walked home under the stars. No war. No weapons. No programming. Just two women who had crawled through hell, rebuilt themselves from ashes, and found their way back, not to who they were, but to who they wanted to be. Together. The world didn't go back to the way it was. It never could. Not after everything that had been taken, destroyed, revealed. The councils fell. The bloodlines that once dictated who led and who obeyed crumbled into stories no one cared about anymore. In their place, something new grew, slow, uneven, but real. Packs started forming communities, not hierarchies. Alphas stopped claiming and started asking. Omegas stopped hiding. They trained. They learned. They ruled beside their mates. Survivors became leaders. Voices that once shook in silence rose in defiance and rebuilt the laws in their own words. And everywhere we went, they remembered us. Not as myths, not as weapons. As women who had been broken and still chose love. Women who didn't just survive what was done to them, they refused to pass that violence forward. It started with letters, requests, invitations. "Come speak at our gathering. Help us rebuild the Bonds Council. We need a voice that understands what was lost." Sophia hated every one of them. "They want to make us symbols," she muttered. "They want us in front of microphones, talking like we didn't burn cities to get here." "We didn't burn them," I said, brushing her hair behind her ear. "We freed them. We bled for this, Marina. We killed for this. And we're still breathing. That means we decide what comes next." We didn't say yes at first. We weren't ready to be public, to let the world into the soft, quiet life we'd built. We had a cottage by the sea,
A porch.
A crooked fence Sophia pretended to hate fixing. A bed that never felt cold. I woke up to her laughter. To coffee she always made too strong. To her arms around my waist while I tried to cook. "You'll burn it again," she teased. "Then you'll eat it anyway." Damn right I will. We lived like people who had almost lost everything, which is to say, we lived with intention. Every kiss, every word, every time I caught her looking at me across the garden like I still surprised her, it was sacred. But the world kept knocking. And eventually, we opened the door. The first gathering was small, 30 leaders from different packs, each chosen by their communities, each carrying stories like open wounds. Sophia stood beside me, quiet at first, letting me speak. I told them about love, about grief, about how I'd hunted the woman who killed my mate only to fall in love with her again. I told them about choice, about how no bond, no scent, no instinct was stronger than the decision to stay. And then they asked her to speak. She looked at me like she might refuse. I took her hand. She squeezed it. And then she said, "They built me in a lab, tried to turn me into a weapon. And they succeeded until she looked me in the eyes and called me home." I broke their control because she reminded me who I was. Not just an alpha. Not just a soldier. A woman.
A mate.
A person who gets to decide what she's worth. Silence followed. And then a young Omega from the crowd stood and said, "I was one of the bonded. I didn't know what love felt like. But I think I do now." That's when we knew. We weren't just healing ourselves anymore. We were holding space for others to begin their own stories. After that, everything changed. A new council formed, not of politicians or legacy leaders, but of survivors. They didn't ask us to lead with rules. They asked us to lead with truth. So we said yes. We helped write new laws, ones that protected all dynamics equally. We helped create shelters for displaced Omegas and reprogrammed Alphas. We made sure no one could be claimed without consent. No one could be bonded without choice. We built what we never had. And through it all, we stayed us. Marina and Sophia. The Omega who lost everything. The Alpha who had to become someone else to survive. The bond they couldn't erase. The love that broke every rule. One night, after a long meeting full of arguments and hope, I sat on the porch, feet up on the railing, a mug of something hot in my hands. Sophia stepped outside behind me, sat next to me. Her eyes were calm, her hair a little messy, her scent all around me. She looked out over the sea and said, "I think I want to marry you." I choked on my drink. "What?" "I'm serious." I turned to her. "You're asking me to?"
"To be my home," she said.
"Forever. In front of everyone. Even if the world burns again." I stared at her. At the woman I had hunted, hated, loved, saved, forgiven. The woman who died in my arms and came back with a new name. And I said, yes. The ceremony was small. The ocean in the background. Ava officiated after much threatening and teasing. Our vows were simple. No declarations of perfection. Just promises.
To stay.
To keep choosing. To tell the truth even when it hurt. To never be silent again. When Sophia said, "I do," her voice didn't shake. And when I kissed her, the world didn't disappear. It aligned. She cupped my face like I was holy. I whispered against her lips, "This is what freedom feels like." And she smiled.
"No.
This is what we feel like." We danced barefoot in the sand. We laughed with people who had once been enemies. We held each other like nothing and everything had changed. And that night, when we lay in bed, married, safe, whole, she whispered, "You brought me back." I kissed her chest, right above her heart. "You never left." I just followed the pieces. The past didn't vanish. The ghosts didn't disappear. But they stopped screaming. And in their place came quiet. A garden. A porch. A bed full of warmth. A world where love didn't have to survive. It could thrive. Thank you so much for being here and for believing in this channel. If you feel in your heart, you can donate with super thanks so I can focus more and more on this project. Your support helps me keep creating these love stories and bringing them to life for you. See you in the next video.